Get ready to match the stars. From Good Times, Jimmie Walker. Brett Summers. Charles Nelson Reilly. From Happy Days, Roz Kelly. From Family Feud, Richard Dawson. And from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, Betty White. As we play the star-studded Big Money Match Game, PM. And now, here's the star of Match Game PM, Gene Raymer.
Hello there. Aren't you a distinguished-looking bunch?
That's
you
us.
really are.
Yes, that's us.
Oh, you're elegant and grand. Well, some of you are elegant and grand. Let's say hello to our two players, Mary Ann McDermott and Steve Camp over here. Listen, we want to find out a little bit about each of you. And we'll begin with you, Steve. Please tell us the story of your life in 8 seconds.
8 seconds, huh?
One.
Well, I'm a salesman.
Yep.
Happily married. I have a little 10-month-old boy. Enjoy lots of things. Skiing, tennis, everything you can do, you know?
Really? You're an outdoors
Very
type person.
Love it.
Well, that's good. Good luck to you, Steve. What about you, my dear?
I'm from Los Angeles, and I'm a sales rep with a publishing company, and I like having a good time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. I see you have a tank watch?
Yes. A
Okay.
little present.
All right.
One of my good times.
Oh, really? Now, here on this PM version of Match Game, we'll give each of you 3 chances to match as many of our celebrities as you can. And the one who has done that most often at the end of the 3rd round will be the winner. Go on to play the Big Money Super Match, which can pay off over $10,000, okay? Now, Steve, I'm going to ask you to make a selection there. You may have A or B.
I'll go with B.
B it is. We're off and running, and here it is. Old Man Periwinkle's 17-year-old bride said...
Am I sorry?
No. No. This 17-year-old bride of Old Man Periwinkle said, our honeymoon was wonderful except for one thing. I had to keep blanking him up. That's what the 17-year-old bride of the old man said. All right, everybody ready over there? We come over here to Steve Camp. Old Man Periwinkle's 17-year-old bride said, our honeymoon was wonderful except for one thing. I had to keep blanking him up.
Waking.
Waking him up seems to be a good response to me. We'll see how you do with that. Okay, Jimmie Walker.
Yes. The man obviously wants to win some dinero and or cash. Waking.
Waking is one match for old Steve. What do you say, Brett?
I had a date like that this very weekend. Waking.
You did. Really? Oh, you don't really mean that, do you? A desirable woman like you having to go out. Oh, I see. What do you say, Charles?
If you stop wearing those nightgowns, maybe.
Propping him up is a good response. You look terrific, Charles. Terrific. Hello, Roz.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, I'm fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look like you'd be a 17-year-old married to Old Man Periwinkle. In that case, what would you say?
No way. However, I do believe that one would have to be waking him up.
Waking him up. Now, that's true for Steve. Our honeymoon was wonderful except for one thing. I had to keep waking him up. Now.
That's correct.
That is correct. Well, then you must have
Any other
that.
questions?
You must have the same. If it's correct, then that's what you got, right?
Well, you know that's the truth.
Well, that's
Wait.
truth, right. Go up for Steve. Well, he's going great guns now.
You see, Charles has a point there.
He does.
I mean, just waking him up doesn't do any good if he keeps falling over like this.
You got to prop him up. Oh, I see. All right, Steve, he got off to a very good start, Marianne.
No.
Isn't that good for a first round? You look kind of tough, the first rounders, so listen carefully. Jimmie Walker said, he said this. He said, in the ghetto, he said, we was so poor.
Hush your mouth.
Go ahead.
Get your own show, will ya? This is in the ghetto. We were so poor, our apartment didn't have wall-to-wall carpet. We had wall-to-wall bling. In the ghetto, we were so poor, we didn't have wall-to-wall carpet. We had wall-to-wall bling. Very easy one. Marianne. Jimmie Walker said, in the ghetto. We were so poor, our apartment didn't have wall-to-wall carpet. We had wall-to-wall bling.
Cockroaches.
Very good answer. Okay. She came up with the definitive answer.
Roaches, huh?
Right.
I am really from the ghetto. I'm here in an exchange program. But, roaches.
Roaches it is. One for Marianne.
I said roaches.
That's two for her. Carlos. Senor Carlos, we are looking for la cucaracha.
Tar paper.
Tar paper. Oh,
Check, please. Check.
Hey, roaches is a little far-fetched.
no, it isn't. What do you say, Roz?
I never forget my native country.
Roaches. Yes, sir. 4-3 to score now. Let's see if she ties it and it matches Richard.
Well, I never forget my native country either. Talking roaches.
Very funny there, talking. What do you
Thank you.
I've always heard you can be poor but happy. They have wall-to-wall kids.
So here we are at the end of round one. We got two pretty good players here. Tie score, 4-4. Let's see what happens in round two after we see about this. 2. Now let's see. Scores tied. Steve went first last time, so in turnabout is fair play. You'll go first this time, Marianne.
I want to get an A, so I'll take A.
You want to get an A? A. She matched 4 of our celebrities last time, so that means Brett and Charles are the only 2 participating.
No, I believe that's
Betty and
Bretty.
Charles.
Just call me Bretty.
No more drinks.
Betty and Charles. Hey,
What?
there's a new cannibal comic in town.
Oh? What he name?
I didn't care about his name. He starts his act off like this. He says, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Blank my wife, please.
I didn't hear the question.
Oh, well, I will read it to you especially 3 or 4 times if you wish it to.
Because I want to think.
A new cannibal comic in town.
A new what? Cannibal.
Cannibal comic in town. And he starts his act off like this. He says, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Blank my wife, please.
Got it.
Ready? All right, what is it?
Eat.
Eat my wife, please. Hello. What do you say, Charles? She says, eat my wife, please. What do you say to that? Show and tell, Charles. Eat my wife, please. Miss Betty. Oh, I don't want to overlook you.
Now, just put my tassel down. I tell you something. This is from the same quarter that you got propping and kids from, right?
Right.
Eat.
Oh, there it is. Ho, ho, ho. All right, Steve. You can have B.
Yeah, get an A.
Okay, Steve. Here it is. Dumb Donald is so dumb. I tell you, every morning it takes him 4 hours to get dressed, and that's because Dumb Donald puts his blanks on over his head.
I think we're going to have a
Good.
fight.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Went my way over to Steve Camp. Okay, Charles. Finito. Steve, Dumb Donald is so dumb, every morning it takes him 4 hours to get dressed. And that's because Dumb Donald puts his blanks on over his head.
His pants.
Pants on over his head. What do you say, trousers or pantaloons or anything like that? He's
Or
looking
anything like that?
Right.
I said, thank God, pants.
Yes.
Or if his wife's out of town visiting her sister Sheila, pantyhose.
Oh, yes. All right. Now we come to her. You remember her?
Her? That's with a capital H.
Yeah.
No, listen. Especially if Dumb Donald is late for work in the morning, he has to get dressed on the fly, and he puts his pants on.
Okay, so we have these players are so terrific that we ended up in a tie, and we'll tell you what happens when we do that after we tell you about this. Now that would have been the third round, but since it's a tie, we don't need that. And we'll push the button again and reveal one tie-breaking question for each of you. The one who has scored the most will be the winner. Ready? All right. Steve, would you like to have A or B?
I'll go with B.
B. Okay. Here it is. B. Tiebreaker. Farmer Brown said to the new farmhand, it's easy to tell you've never worked on a farm before. You're milking the blank. It was for me. Easy to tell you've never worked on a farm before. All right.
My
Really?
biggest belt on,
Terrible.
I did not.
Okay, here we go. Steve Kemp. Farmer Brown said to the new farmhand, it's easy to tell you've never worked on a farm before. You're milking the blank.
The horse.
The horse. Really? What made you say that, Steve?
I couldn't think of anything better.
I see. Okay.
Never worked on a farm.
He said, you're milking the horse. What do you say to that?
That's not a bad answer, not the correct answer, but not a bad answer, and that's the main thing, you know? I have an answer that is capable or comparable of that kind of answer, which is wonderful. The chicken.
Oh. Now, wait a minute. Quiet. It may not be a match, but there is an element of amusement in trying to milk a chicken now. Let's not have anarchy. Brett, what do you say?
I say, curtain up, light the lights, and milk the pig.
Okay. So far we have a chicken and a pig, but we're looking for a horse, sir. My kingdom for a horse.
A bull.
Oh. Bull. I do believe Charles has given the definitive answer. Easy to tell you never worked on a farm before. You're milking the bull, right, Roz?
Well,
Wrong.
no, that's absolutely wrong. I mean, you would really milk the horse.
The horse! Well, you see, you get these weirdo celebrities, and they give you the weirdo answers. And sometimes it works. What do you say?
Bully for you.
Bully for you. That's two bulls, one horse, a pig, and a partridge in a pear tree. What do you say, Betty?
He was milking the joke. Bull.
Bull. Okay. Now, Marianne, 1 to tie, 2 to win. Ready? This is yours. At the hospital, the nurse got 2 of the operations confused. So, she threw out Mrs. Smith's baby and spanked Mr. Jackson's blank.
Because they're all too terrible and true.
Lights are on. Marianne, at the hospital, the nurse got 2 of the operations confused. So, she threw out Mrs. Smith's baby and spanked Mr. Jackson's blank.
Sandy?
Fanny. Well, that's what they do in hospitals when the baby's born. Hold on, goes bang, like that. Jimmy, she says Fanny.
Gee, I was on another program. I said appendix. Thank you, crowd!
2 operations.
In one, there was an appendix operation, and one, there was a little child coming down the chute.
I see. Okay. All right. Are you ready for this?
It's not accurate, but, about that little child coming down the chute.
Right.
I think that's a terrific answer. I wish I thought it. I'd say gallbladder.
Oh. What do you say, Charles?
I like that.
If they don't come down the chute, Auntie Brett, where do they come from?
Kidney. Marianne, we've had a kidney and all kinds, but Marianne's looking for a Fanny here, Roz.
A hind part?
Well, let's see. Hind parts. How about that? There's one. That gives us a tie. Now, we need one more. No.
Appendix.
Richard has an appendix.
Operation.
What do you say there, my
I
dear?
wish Fanny Flagg were here, because then she could just write her name and she'd be right, you know. Now, I had a different picture. I had her throwing the baby out and picking up the bedpan and spanking it.
Now, as you see, this end game a 1-to-1 tie here. And since we don't have time to do another regular tiebreaker, Why, we have to do our sudden death type tiebreaker, and the first one to score a match will be the winner. There's one tie-breaking question for each of you, and you'll be playing with our three regulars, Brett, Charles, and Richard, and you will write your answers, all right, and then put them in the slot here. Ready? Here we go. Here it is. Table blank. Table, T-A-B-L-E, table blank. Table blank. You finished there, Steve?
Sure am.
All right, I'll come over here now and check with our regulars, beginning with Brett.
Claw!
All right! Congratulations, Steve. Tablecloth. Stand on the end there. Now, let's see what this lady said. This lady said table and chairs, and there's his answer, tablecloth. Okay. All right. Now, Mary Ann, we thank you for being with us here on Match Game PM. We have a 9-year supply of pantyhose, which we're going to send to you. Thank you very much. Mary Ann McDermott. Now, Steve, time for the big money super match where you can win over $10,000. To do that, we've got 2 audience matches for you. Want to point out, we'll multiply by 10 whatever you win in these audience matches. We polled one of those audiences, and we got their best response to this. The third blank. It's $500 for you if you match the most popular response. $250 for the second most popular response, and $100 for the third, and a little help from our celebrity.
Sounds good. I'll take Richard.
Third Man.
The Third Man. Great old movie. Brett.
The Third Degree.
The Third Degree.
And Charles?
That stinks. The Third Party.
The Third Party, The Third Man, and The Third Degree are the 3 responses. Steve, you can choose one or give us one of your own.
I had something entirely different in my mind. The Third Reich.
The Third Reich. The audience seems to agree with you. Let's find out if it's up there. We're looking for the Third Reich. Achtung, Earl revealed a $100 response. The Third Man. All right. They are still looking for the Third Reich. Earl, if you do not reveal the $250 response, we know you got relatives in Harlem, and it will be very hard for you. Maybe see it. The Third Degree. All right. Last chance for the Third Reich. Slide it, Earl. Right. Achtung! Go back to your seat.
I have one word for you.
What is your one word?
You are dumbcock.
Dumbcock. Listen, that was terrific. You've won $500. Means the least you'll be playing for is 10 times that amount, or $5,000. Now let's see how you can do with the second audience match here. Okay, Earl, let's see it. Frank Blank. Okay, let's call him out one at a time, Steve.
Roz.
Frank Sinatra.
Sinatra is one.
Richard.
Richard, have you got one?
Frank. Yes, Frank.
Frank.
Just talking about that the other day. Frank Fontaine.
Frank Frank Fontaine.
Nobody mentions him anymore.
No, hardly.
I'm trying to get him back in the business.
And Charles.
Frank Footer.
Footer.
Frank
Frank
Footer.
Footer.
Frank Footer.
Frank Footer. You're incorrigible.
That's the leading role in the Rocky Horror Show.
So,
Dr.
now-
Frank Footer.
All right, you got Frank Footer, Frankie Fontaine, and Frank Sinatra.
German.
I'll go with Roz with Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra, all right, Roz, let's see if it's up there, and if so, where? May we see the $100 number? Frank and Ernest. You'll be Frank, and I'll be Ernest. Okay, let's see the $250 number. Frank Footer, in desperation, he said that, and none of us thought it would be up there.
Wait till Fontaine comes up.
Frankie Fontaine is not coming up. Show him, Earl. Now, another $500 multiplied by the 10 is 5,000. Add that to the previous 5. You got $10,000 to shoot for. Got to match one celebrity, and you got to pick one now.
I'm going to go with Richard.
Okay, Richard.
Oh, man, we're hot.
Yeah. Face me. Here it is. It's worth $10,000. Get your ESP going over to Richard, and you'll collect that money. Here it is. Seat blank. That's S-E-A-T blank. Seat blank. Now, Steve, give us an answer which will match his, and you're richer by $10,000. Think about it now. Look at it. Seat blank.
Seat cover.
Seat cover. You're going ooh, ah, oh. All right, Richard, he says seat cover will match you for $10,000.
We should bid. I said seat belt.
Seat belt. I guess the audience agrees with Richard. I'm sorry to say that, Steve. Anyway, it wasn't a total loss because you did pick up $1,000. Goodbye.
Some contestants will receive the new Amana Touchmatic Radar Range. The Cookmatic Power Shift allows complete control of cooking speeds before or as you cook. Remember, if it doesn't say Amana, it's not a radar range. And Taylor New York State Champagne, America's best-loved premium champagne, celebrates more holidays than any other premium champagne in America. Taylor Champagne. And Presto's new hamburger cooker shapes and broils an extra juicy hamburger in only 1 to 3 minutes. Presto Burger from Presto. And Richmark Cocoa Butter Cream, lotion and soap for natural organic cocoa butter to aid in the relief of dry, rough skin, furnished by Richmark. And Jolly Time Popcorn. Jolly Time's the popcorn the whole family loves. Serve delicious Jolly Time popcorn anytime. And new Bardol Super Spray, a penetrating lubricant for anything that sticks, squeaks, rusts, or corrodes. Bardol Super Spray.